Hello, my name is Marie. I'm a student at John Russell Dornum School. Today I will talk about many topics related to World War II. To have knowledge about World War II is very important because it was one of the most terrible wars in history, and we have to make sure that so awful things will never happen again. I'm going to tell you about 7 topics. World War I and the Black Friday, to explain the circumstances and the mentality of the people after losing World War I. I will talk about Hitler's journey to become power, Hitler's political career. Then I will talk about the Holocaust and the way how Hitler could kill all the Jews. And I will explain more about the extermination camps. Then I will talk about the allies and enemies of Germany, the Three-Party Pact, the Allies, the SA, the SS and the Gestapo. And last I will talk about 5 other terrifying wars in history to give a comparison to World War II. How could Adolf Hitler rise to the power in a democratic country? The story begins after losing World War I. The winners forced the German government to pay their war damages and so the German Empire collapsed. For fear for a communist revolution, the major parties formed an alliance, the Weimar Republic. On 29th of October 1929, the American stock exchange crashed, and that leads to a worldwide economic crisis. The German government printed more money, but that leads to inflation. People get angry, and for any reason they thought the Jews betrayed the German army, and so they lost World War I. Growing up from a child to a dictator. On 20th of April 1889, Hitler was born in Braunau in Austria. In 1907, he moved to Wien after the death of his mother and the death of his father 5 years before. He had no graduating at secondary school, so he kept afloat with occasional jobs. In 1930, he moved to Munich in Germany. In 1914, he became a war volunteer. He was a good soldier and even got 2 awards. In 1919, he discovered his talent to speak. On the 12th September 1990, he got the 55th member of the DAP, the German Worker Party. In 1921, Hitler adopted the DAP and changed the name to National Socialist German Worker Party, the NSDAP. In November 1923, a coup attempt by Hitler failed and he went to prison for 1 year. And there he wrote his book, My Fight. On 31st of July 1932, the NSDAP was elected by 37% and became the strongest party in Germany. On 30th of January 1933, Hitler became Chancellor of the Republic. In 1934, Hindenburg, the president, died and Hitler became the president too. In the next year, Hitler adopted all high positions are filled with people addicted to him, and so he became the leader and called himself Führer. Hitler used a long-winded, creeping, but still strict way to fulfill his plan to kill all Jews. His first political step in 1935 was to bar Jews from marrying an Aryan. An Aryan is in his view a German citizen whose parents and grandparents were German too. People who have 3 or 4 Jewish grandparents were Jewish. After the accession of the first law, a lot of Jews were arbitrarily arrested. Then in 1938, 17,000 Polish Jews were expelled from Germany, but not received from Poland. That means that 17,000 children, men and women, had no country anymore. In the night of the 10th of November 1938, about 100 Jews were murdered, synagogues were burned, shops and flats were destroyed and robbed, and about 30,000 Jews were brought in concentration camps. On 12th of November 1938, Jews were forbidden to have a job or to sell something and to wear jewelry. They had to assume the second name Sarah or Israel, and they had to wear the yellow star to show everyone in the street that they are Jewish. They were not allowed to go any public places like a library, a theater, a museum or a swimming pool, and because of wearing the yellow star, nobody let them in. but if they would not wear it, they would be killed or brought in an extermination camp. The children were only allowed to go to Jewish school. In autumn 1939, they started with the extermination of the incurable sick and disabled Jews. Over the years, Hitler and his supporters brought the extermination to perfection. There were 30 camps in the German Empire, includes Poland, Austria and Netherlands. There were 3 kinds of camps: collective camps, concentration camps and extermination camps. In 1941, Nazis started to kill Jews. First they shot them and gassed them later to save bullets. Nazis get everything from Jews. If they arrive at the camp, the Nazis collect the suitcases, clothes, watches and glasses and separated men and women and let them do hard work. The pregnant, sick, old and the children were killed immediately, and later the worker who don't died yet from the hard work. Even the dead bones were used to make soap. 5.6 million Jews were killed in World War II. Germany didn't have a lot of allies. There were the Tree Party Pact with Italy and Japan, and they occupied almost whole Europe, but the rest of the world was against Hitler. There were also more than 40 murderous attacks against Hitler. On 9th of October 1939, Georg Elser put a bomb next to Hitler's lectern, but Hitler left the room too early. On 20th of July 1944, Graf von Stauffenberg put a bomb under the meeting table, but the meeting table saved Hitler's life. Hitler also had a lot of surrounders: the SA, the SS, the Waffen-SS and the Gestapo. The SA was the protective and fighting group of the NSDAP. They were undisciplined, radical and aggressive. They helped the police to put down rebellions, followed Jews and built the first concentration camp in 1933. The leader Ernst Röhn wanted to replace the army, so Hitler killed him. The SS was a part of the SA, and after Ernst Röhn's death, they replaced the SA. They were much more dangerous because they was disciplined and systematic. They protected Hitler, and they was also the leaders of the concentration camps and gassed the Jews. The Waffen-SS was a part of the SS and was like the elite troop of the German armed forces. The Gestapo, the secret police of Germany in 1933 to 1945, was the cruelest of all. They followed, killed, arrested every enemy without a court order. They were responsible for killing Jews or bringing them to camps. We can split the timeline of World War II into 4 parts: the Lightning War, the German conquering expedition, the change of the happenings by the Allies, and the end. World War II started on 1st of September 1939 with the raid of Poland, and England and French declared war on Germany. So the Lightning War was started. It's called Lightning War because it starts suddenly and ends very fast, like a flash of lightning. After that, the conquering expedition was started. In April 1940, Germany captured Norway and Denmark, and in May Belgium and Netherlands. In June, Germany captured France. On 27th of September 1940, Germany, Italy and Japan signed the Tree Party Pact. In February 1941, Germany captured North Africa, and in June, Germany captured Greece and started the crusade against Russia. On 7th of December 1941, Japan attacked a US-American naval base, the Pearl Harbor, without declaration of war. America declared war on Japan, and Germany declared war on America. Japan captured more parts of Asia. And then the change. On January 1943, a surrender of Germany in Stalingrad, and in May in Africa. In July 1943, Allies disposed Mussolini, the dictator of Italy, and captured back all the countries. The end came very fast. In April 1945, troops of the Soviet Union captured Berlin. On 30th of April 1945, Hitler's suicide followed. On 8th of May, Germany capitulated absolute. After 2 atom bombs in Japan, in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, on 6th and 9th of August, the World War II ends on 2nd September 1945. Since the first humans on Earth, humans fought each other. There have been uncountable, unimagined bloody wars in all time periods. Of course, every single war was terribly bloody, and it's never necessary to kill people, but if we look only at the number of dead people, we have the 6 most terrible wars in history. The most terrible war in all time was probably World War II, but there are more bloody wars all over the world, like the Mongol conquest, the American Civil War, the Russian Civil War, World War I, and the French Revolution. I talked about World War I and the Black Friday and tried to explain the circumstances and the mentality of the people after losing World War I. I talked about Hitler's journey to become power, from his childhood to a dictator, and I talked about his political career. Then I talked about the Holocaust and the way how Hitler tried to kill all Jews, and I explained more about the extermination camps. Then I talked about the allies and enemies of Germany, the Three-Party Pact, the Allies, the SA, the SS, the Waffen-SS and the Gestapo. And at last I talk about 5 other terrifying wars in history to give a comparison to World War II. For listening, and I hope this presentation has helped you to understand the Second World War better. In my opinion, we have to prevent that something like World War II ever happen again. We have to learn about it so we can learn from it.